That's because there wasn't a start yet, Pendrake. Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. Sorry for the late start. I got totally wrapped up in something and got dragged, and I was like, and had to run and do my stuff. So, hi. Welcome back to another Friday episode of Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host, and Disembodied Hands, Quindy, Disembodied Beard, John, and my sulky puppy, who has been going off at every other dog barking in the neighborhood today. So be aware. Hi, everybody. We'll just jump right in since we're starting a little late. But yeah, it was... I'm not on my board anymore, but there was an email pending from before the National that I had to take care of, so... And I didn't realize that taking care of it was going to actually take me that long. I was like... I looked up and it was like 9:30 exactly, and I was like, yee! And then I ran around like chicken with my head cut off. But yeah. And it was an important stuff. It kind of like, it was the number of points that we give out for working titles versus show wins. And I really feel passionately that we need to reward working dogs as much as show titles. But the person who wrote up the tentative rules is very much a show person. So I was like, all right, I need to do something about that. Because that's not, we don't want it, like, AKC is that way. I don't want us to be AKC. So, they still listen to me, even though I'm not on the board anymore. I have the best of all possible worlds. I don't have to show up to meetings, and I still get to weigh in. Oh, boy. All right, I hope none of my dog people are watching this stream. Oh, dear. All right, where am I? What am I doing? I don't know. We're doing gold, I think. I think we'll do gold today. We'll finish filling in all of the parts of the model that are just gray bones plastic. Points, yeah. So, Pendrake, you get, like, in order to track whether your dog is a champion or not, you get points for each show win you do, and you get a certain number of points depending on how many dogs you beat and in which class. And if you make at least 3 to 5 points, that's called a major win, and you need at least a couple of those to become an actual champion. After that, there are more points, though. Kiki, enough. There's a thing called Register of Merit, which essentially kind of tracks your progeny. Like, it gives your dog points for how many of their progeny, like, become champions or finish working titles or do stuff. So you have a ranking system that your dog can rank up in even after they're done showing and working themselves. And that's cool and all, but it was definitely overbalanced towards showing, and I feel like that's not our club right now. A lot of the people who bring their Shilohs even to our national show are much more into doing obedience or tracking or disc dog or you name it, right? Or barn hunt, right? They're not into showing as much, and it's not that I want to undervalue or not encourage people to show, but we should be rewarding the working dogs as much as we reward the pretty dogs, I guess. Oh, nice. Stay off of work. Great. Good job. Oh, no, I don't. Yeah, thanks, Chris, for the heads up. Yeah, I feed Purina Pro Plan and Farmer's Dog, but it's good to know. Hey, Zachary, it's been a while since I've seen you chatting. You must not be stuck in endless meetings today, or you're stuck in endless meetings that are virtual so you can cheat. I did enjoy Colorado. There were more dogs than expected, which meant that we actually had a pretty good show turnout. And all 4 of the Tervuren outcrosses were there. So all 4 of the F1 puppies came. So I got to see how all of them have turned out. And they actually were showing against each other. Like 3 of them were. One of them is definitely not. She's more, that's Ursa's girl. And Ursa is the dog psychologist or dog behaviorist psychologist type who just did our dog behavior troubleshooting seminar at the show. So I got to see Lenore a little bit for that one time. But otherwise, yeah. You were watching Disney, huh? But yeah, so I got to see a lot of the dogs that I haven't seen, actually. And as somebody still with an invested interest in the breed, I really like to meet them in person, right? Because that's how you really get a sense of their temperament and like size and their conformation. I like to put hands on. I've done enough. Now I'm officially a show judge for just my organization. I don't think I have the time to become a show judge for someone like AKC. It would take up so much time. It takes a lot to get certified for a big organization as a judge. But I do know Shiloh's at this point after 15 years. So I did get to judge the Progeny show, which was kind of sprung on me last minute, but I still enjoy doing it. So, okay. Let's grab our rich leather as always for this. Since we're doing saturated here, I definitely want a punchy gold, and you can see that this is a very punchy color. You could also use colors that are a lot less punchy for your base of gold. Like you can see this one over here is a Vallejo, but beige brown is actually a color that I used to use for a base for gold. But you can see it's not as gold and it's a little bit more grayed out. You see it's not as vibrant. So, a little bit more muted. You can go that way, but since she's such bright colors, we're going to go with the punchy color today. Oh, painting an overgourd. Cool. But yeah, I enjoyed the dog show. I got to see some beautiful dogs, and I got to see Kiki's brother, Banyan, which I think I showed you guys pictures of already, and I also posted on my Patreon his picture. But he's such a sweetie, and just a really handsome, he's a handsome boy. His ears didn't go up, but otherwise he's a very handsome boy. So that's Banyan. He's such a nice boy. And he demoed scent work. And then I got to see a really, really pretty smoothie girl, who I really enjoyed. And I got to see Kiri's great-great-great-great-great-granddaughter, who looks honestly just like Kiri. Kiri had that exact face, which is why I saved this picture. That is such a Kiri face. So Ivy is very much her great-great-grandmother's daughter. She's only 10 months old. So that she still has that puppy look, but she totally looks like her great-great-grandma. You just never know. Like, that's kind of the cool thing about being in breeding in a dog breed, is that 3 or 4 generations down the line, suddenly there's a puppy who is the spitting image of your dog. Like in my case, Kiri was really my heart dog, right? And I just love that. Like, I love it. I love it. I love it. It just makes my heart go happy. That's a bummer, because, yeah, you could have met a lot. You could have met Kiki's brother, and you could have met a bunch of really awesome Shilohs. Yeah, there were a lot of beautiful dogs. And most of them very well behaved. Sometimes we get random people who just show up with their Shiloh, and they really haven't done enough socialization. And it can be pretty intense at a dog show, right? There's lots of other dogs around of all different sizes and ages. But it was cool. It was cool. So... And I was pretty pleased overall with how the breed is progressing. The judges, every single judge that we had was super impressed with our breed. Like, really, really, took the time, 4 out of 5 took the time after the show to call everyone over and tell us what a good job we were doing. And with explicit things that we were doing well. And that is not usual, so they were very, very happy with the breed. And that means I'm happy because we've improved things. So now we've got a whole new suite of things to improve on, but that's all right. We're working on it. That's why you see people getting so invested in horse breeding, dog breeding, cat breeding, whatever, animal husbandry in general, is that it's that never-ending challenge. You will never get to perfection, but the challenge of getting closer, of getting more confident temperaments, of getting, friendlier temperaments, of getting, of correcting a fault in your dogs. That's what people love about it, right? That, and like I said, seeing your dog 4 generations down the line, seeing Kiri, essentially a plush Kiri, down to the mannerisms. It was amazing. I was so happy. Okay, so service dogs and Shilohs. Let's talk about that, because that's kind of a big with our breed. Our breed is extremely large, takes a ton of socialization, and if you aren't firm and you don't provide structure, they can become reactive, as many very alert guardian type breeds can. We generally, Arawiz, most breeders will not let you have a dog for service work without proven. There's usually the best breeders will have a set of criteria. You must be working with a trainer. You must, or a training organization, or you must already have a service dog that you can demonstrate has been trained by you to be a good service dog, right? In my case, Astra, from my first litter, her owner had trained Astra to be a seizure alert dog. She started doing it naturally, but then he actually worked with her and she became a top-notch seizure alert dog for him. Because of that, another breeder from our org was willing to give him a puppy for service work because he had already demonstrated the ability to train a service dog. But we've had so many potential service dogs just fail because the people who got them weren't experienced, didn't follow through, or didn't listen. And so and then the breeder takes that dog back, right? And then has to like correct any of the bad experiences, right? And work with the dog and find a new home for the dog. And it's not easy. So because of those many experiences, most of us won't work with just anybody. Honestly, I would say the best service work for a Shiloh is alert. So seizure alert, diabetic alert, any of those medical alert things, they've got good noses. And more than that, they are really in tune with their owners. Every little twitch of your body language, like serious. They are really in tune with their people. So I would say that their best role in service is that. They can make good mobility service dogs, but the problem is you just never know if you're going to get one that's big enough for, whoever you are, right? If you're a really tall person, your Shiloh isn't guaranteed to grow to 30 inches at the shoulder, right? Depends on what you need. But they can be pretty good, like if you need somebody to help you out of chairs and stuff like that, a Shiloh can definitely do that. The problem with that is when you get a puppy, you can't do that kind of weight-bearing work for at least a year. You could start maybe after a year, depending, but we like to see it wait till at least a year and a half. Before you do that. Otherwise it can hurt the dog because they grow very slowly. The worst possible role in service for a Shiloh, I think, unless you are working with maybe an outcross that might be suitable, would be PTSD. And the reason for that is that they are so in tune with their people that if you are freaking out, they are very likely to be freaking out. So it takes a particular type, much more of a German Shepherd temperament to, I think, be successful at that particular role. And that is me. I am not a certified trainer. I am only somebody who has worked with an owner who did need a dog for service work and worked with a couple of them, actually. But I think that's kind of we're very cautious about it. We're very cautious about it because we've seen it go wrong so many times. So it depends on what kind of work you need and that. But there you go. There's the summary. And we are thinking of taking that note about service work off of our website, ArrowWiz, because that's just how much we get. A lot of people who are just random, who want to train their own service dog but have no experience with it and are not willing to work with a good trainer. And we're considering just just removing those phrases. I mean, yeah, they can make a great service dog, but so can so many other breeds. All right, to get down off my soapbox and keep going. All right, I'm going to mix up, I think. I'm going to put a little bit of black and brown in my rich leather. No, I don't want the black. Okay, so if we want to keep this more saturated, let's use a shadow color of brown that doesn't have a lot of black in it. Black and brown has a ton. Russet brown has less. So I'm probably going to reach for my russet, except I don't know where I stuffed it. Where did it go? Oh, no. I have all these paints, like, stuck various places. I might have taken it into the other room, or it might have gone over here. Oh, there it is. I kind of put it aside. There it is. Yeah, trainer is a must. I mean, they're too soft to do bite work, Pendrake, so if you're looking for a hardcore Schutzhund prospect, the Shiloh is not that. The Shiloh is meant as a companion breed. It is not meant to be a working dog. Any working dog attributes that our dogs still have are purely stuff that's just carried down from the background, where our breed founders started with working lines. Every once in a while, we get a throwback to that. We find a dog that actually can do Schutzhund and other bite work, attack work. But in general, Shilohs are friendly. If you're talking about guard work as far as just alerting you when people come on the property, they do that naturally. But you never ever want to encourage a young Shiloh to be like, you won't want to encourage that instinct when that dog is a puppy. The instinct will develop as they get older. But people who encourage their Shiloh puppies to guard or to like lunge and bark at a stranger who approaches them or any of that, you're just going to make it a reactive dog. It's just not going to work. Most Shilohs don't have that hard, confident temperament, that really independent temperament that a real, like, they can't do police work, for example. No way. Our breed founder, Tina, my mentor, used to essentially say that a Shiloh was like a .45 caliber water pistol. They look big, they look scary, and honestly, that's enough of a deterrent. When it comes down to it, though, they are not a dog that is going to, like, attack somebody who attacks you. They are far more likely in a circumstance to run for help. I think I had maybe one dog in my entire career, and that would have been Thorn. Thorn might have actually attacked somebody for me, but he was also, I don't know if he would have. He was an outcross, though, with a border patrol breed, so he actually had that behind him. That line ended up not being used very much in Shilohs. It's very, very rare in our lines now, and it's being pushed back a lot because the temperaments weren't what we wanted. We want a bunch of big, fuzzy teddy bears that are, like, they can be aloof, but we like the friendly temperament. They should be easily handled by even a small child. That's the ideal. And be friendly with other animals. Some of that is, of course, socialization. But that's what the Shiloh, like, that's what we want. Other animals, it's different. Resin. Some Shilohs have high prey drive. And that comes somewhat from the herding lines. All right, so let's get this colored down. And I think I thinned it too much. 1 second. Sorry. Thinning too much, and then I probably need to put some white in it, but we'll see. I mean, a lot of dogs will tackle other animals. That's just prey drive. And some guardian ability, probably, but yeah, as far as guard work, as far as people, that's not really what our breed is for. People see a huge shepherd and they just think it should do that, but that's actually the opposite of what we want. Alright, so let's get this getting going here. There we go. So we're going to get this gold blocked in. But yeah, some breeders will work with you. If you've got a trainer, the chance goes up. Airways, but otherwise, it really, like I said, it depends very much on the type of service work. It depends on the individual breeders. Some breeders will just look at you and say no. And that's their right. But that's usually because they just don't feel like their lines are a good fit for it, which you should definitely, that could be a thing. So, but the thing is that most Shilohs are not what Tina used to call an out-of-the-box dog. Out-of-the-box dog is that, like, that Labrador puppy that you get that's just, like, awesome and friendly and confident and solid from day one. And, sure, you do a bit of socialization, but the dog is awesome anyway. And, there are very few dogs in the world that are out-of-the-box dogs, but Shilohs at some time were being presented that way, and that's really not what we are. Anyway. Shilohs are really meant just to be good family companions, all-around dogs that can do whatever you want to do with them, with you. And they want to be with you. They're very people-focused, very in tune with their owners, usually very easy to train. Kiki has picked up on scent work really fast. And she also was really, for the most part, very easy to housebreak. Most Shilohs are. So if you like big shepherds and you cannot lie, as I do, then, you know, it might be the breed for you if you're willing to put in the extra work. Puppy classes are a must. Socialization is a must. Oh, Dragon Stretch Goal just got revealed. On which Kickstarter? Is that the Reaper Kickstarter, Sir Gambit? Yeah. Yeah, well, and honestly, like I said, Astra she started alerting to Jared's seizures just because she was his dog and she was really in tune with him, right? So if you don't directly need a service dog, but you want a dog that can be a good family companion with the possible potential to do it, again, it depends on, as I said, the type of work, right? Alrighty, so wasn't really there is some gold trim down on these areas. I am going to actually take my white and mark out the other places I want that trim now. And I need to double down on the top up here. Ah, nice. Can we get a link for that's the Dungeon Dwellers Kickstarter, right? I want to see. Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay, let's see the stretch goal. Let's see the dragon. I want to see the dragon. Updates. What tell me? I see a basilisk. Where's my rewards? So I assume it's not unlocked. It's just about to be. Let me see. I'm looking. Oh, yep, there's the colors. Yeah, that's a pretty good. Maybe I wouldn't have done Glacier Blue, but I'm looking at the paint. The paint. I don't see the dragon. I don't see the stretch goal. Maybe I'm just not looking in the right place. Basilisk. Yeah, I don't see it. I can't read the latest update. Yeah. Oh, okay. He's no illustration. Okay. Got it. I'm always interested in dragons. David pounced me this morning and was like, I want a 3D print this weekend. And I'm like, all right. It's on. He may not be happy that he told me that when he sees what I want to print. And this is going to take hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. Yeah, I didn't actually pledge for it, so I can't see it. That's all right. Okay, so if I try to paint this gold base color over some of this trim that I want to make gold, it's not going to work. It's going to be really dark. It's going to blend right in with the leather. So that's why we need to underpaint it. Just like I left the light gray down to put it over. You can see how that makes this look lighter so it doesn't blend into everything, right? So we're going to have to do that for all of the trim here also that I want to do in this color. Oh, cool, Wendy. Sure, I would love to see it. Oh, really? Okay, I didn't click through. I assumed I couldn't see it because I hadn't pledged. My bad assumption. I also didn't want to sit there and try to figure it out while I'm supposed to be painting, you know. I have so much stuff this weekend. I'm going to be streaming Saturday, and then actually we have a board game day at David's friend's house on Sunday, which is cool. I can just essentially try to get all my writing done on Sunday morning. Oh, okay. So many tabs, so little time. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a solid little dragon. That looks about the size of the fire dragon. And it's a Julie. Which, of course, you know, we all like. And it's generic enough you can paint it any color. Cool. Neato Fritos. That'll be a good dragon for y'all to practice on, actually. If it's smaller, which it looks like it might be smaller. It's got the overlapping scales that can help you refine your aligning. And if you don't know what I'm talking about and you're a patron, you should go look up increasing brush control video or brush control. Large side dragon. Yeah, fits nicely on a 2-inch base. Okay. Yep. Okay, so 2-inch base. So a fairly decent sized dragon then. Maybe more like Frostfang. The white dragon that we have. A medium sized dragon. Yeah, not color specific. Yeah, that's good. That's nice, Julie, just because, you know, then you can paint it whatever you like. Or if you want, you can do a little bit of... the nice thing about the head of that dragon, Julie, is that if you really wanted to, you could do a little bit of conversion work and make it into almost any D&D dragon. Like, you could give it the sweeping forward horns and make it into a black dragon. You could give it a tall frill and make it into a white dragon, you know. So that's pretty cool. So I'm going to just go around and I'm going to block in. And it doesn't have to be like a really solid white. Like, you just want to get a layer of white down. Because honestly, it showed up pretty well just using a light gray as a background, right? So even if this white isn't the most solid white layer in the world, it's still going to let me keep that gold brighter. Yeah, it's all about the horns. It's the Dungeon Dwellers Kickstarter, the role-playing game Kickstarter, Richard. They just showed a stretch goal that was a dragon by Julie. Although I think Ron missed an opportunity there. Or whoever wrote the game. Did Joseph Wolf write the game? I did not actually look to see who got author credits on that. But they missed an opportunity. Like, if you're not going to do colored dragons, then you should do, like, dragons of lineages or have all your dragons of a sufficient size be, like, named entities, right? Maybe he does that. Maybe they put some of the Reaper dragons in there. But then you have the opportunity to create sculpts around those dragons and their mythology, right? So who would not want that? It does indeed have some miniatures. I'm going to grab my walnut brown just so I can, when I mess up, I can correct my lines. But yes, it's a Julie dragon. and fits on a 2-inch base. There we go. Just need a little bit of walnut. Throw a little bit of water into that, and then we'll keep going. Hey, Xylophone, how's it going? Thank you. 50 months! Cornico just did that to us yesterday. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that, Valendar. Like I said, that opens you up to having like more like draconic personalities and famous individuals or infamous individuals, rather than making generalizations of what is essentially a breed of dragons, right? Very soon we'll be sending out an update that deals with dragons in DDRPG. Okay, that's good. Then Valendar gets what he wants. He gets unique dragons. But then you totally do need special character dragons, so that Julie has all sorts of interesting dragon personalities to sculpt. Because that's what I feel like. I feel like Reaper's original dragons actually did a pretty good job of that. Like the original Troxel and the resculpt, the Velocithrax that Werner did, and Frostblight, and they had you could tell there was a personality to each of them, right? They were very individual dragons. I like that. But I guess as gamers, yes, exactly, Valendar. Well, yeah. Dragons definitely being apex predators. Although I think, technically, adventurers are the answer, right? I mean, dragons are apex predators, but they're hunted by adventurers. I think adventurers are generally the answer on that. Actually, the RPG fic book RPG lit book I've been reading is pretty much like that's its postulation, is adventurers exist to keep the monsters from overrunning the world, right? That's why they exist. So technically the adventurers are the apex predators. Well, they are really hard to take on though, right? There's only a few adventurers that can really take on the big dragons. So I don't know. You're probably right, although you could also argue that, I don't know, I guess anything is going to break down. No system is in perfect balance. Isn't there a world like that where the dragons were essentially hunted to extinction? Wasn't that, well, that was actually the Gurm's world, isn't it? Until Daenerys. All the dragons were taken out. But the dragons there are more animalistic. I don't know. I like my world with dragons, but I like dragons being their own society and having their own goals other than just ravaging the world. I like my dragons smart. I actually didn't like Dragonlance for the fact that even though the dragons were smart, like, they were just like... they were too easy. I like my dragons to be, like, very powerful and very intelligent. But intelligent enough not to destroy the world that they live in, right? I haven't done a book with dragons. Well, actually, there are dragons in East of the Sun and West of the Moon, but they're a bit different. So, yeah, I never read through all of Ebron's source material canon. Yeah, you could argue that plenty of monsters can nom on baby dragons. But all right. So once we've got that white down, then when we put, and maybe I'll do a comparison for you here. So if I try to put this color over the knee here, it doesn't really stand out very well. It's very close to the leather color. When I put it over white, you see it sticks out much more, and you get the color. The color is true, right? Going over the white primer. It's not being darkened down by an undercoat. Dragons and Eberron are the Illuminati. Yeah, that's cool. It's like dragons in Dark Sun were like the ultimate defilers. I liked Dark Sun because I liked psionics. I'm one of those weird GMs who does. I feel like mentalism has a place in fantasy worlds. Yeah, I wanted her to be very earthy and rangery, right? Very wood elfy. And that means a lot of earthy tones, so this will be gold, obviously. It'll come up to be gold colored. Yeah, it's true. They really aren't that tough. Richard. I liked my dragons to be tougher. I like my dragons to be very few and very powerful. Relatively very few. All right, so that looks, you can see this just faded right in, but that stands out. So now let's put that white over that. Yeah. Yep, Quindy. Yeah, I like just looking at RPG books for the artwork too. For the immersive fantasy world art. I don't have a lot of time to game these days, and I'm very alert to the fact that running a game uses the same energy as writing for me, so I'm unlikely to run a game anytime in the near future, now that I'm actually writing. Alright, so now we've got those areas that I want to be gold on that leg. Yeah, but I'm okay with that, Richard. I am. See, I think that dragons make very good mysterious NPCs, and their human forms, and their humanoid forms. I would rather have my dragons in the world as kind of like, as you say, the Illuminati, as movers and shakers for those who actually care about working with humanoid races. Kind of like the gods, really, in many D&D worlds. ADHD. Lol. If it, I need to look at, Reaper has kind of had their own RPG world since I started with the company 20 years ago, Sir Cannon Fodder. So, gosh knows there was a lot of material. We developed a lot of the material for Reaper's world, original world. I don't know if this is Adon or a different world for this one. But we developed a lot of it in Warlord as well. I'm not surprised that it happened because, as I mentioned yesterday, Ron really wants it. The art director at Reaper is a huge D&D fan and has long wanted Reaper to do their own RPG system. So, okay, so it is Adon. Yep. Yeah, that's Ron's original world. Carrie Michael, that's awesome. But yeah, I do know that there has been a fair bit of playtesting. Last I checked. So that usually helps when you've got a company trying to bring it out of its own game, but I mean, it does make sense. Reaper makes a ton of miniatures for it already, so why not put out a system and a setting for it? I don't know how much support, like additional books, will be going into it, or if this is pretty much the starting books are all you ever need scenario. I'm not sure on that since I am no longer working at HQ. All right, so now we've got some trim on the vambrace up here. And I do have some trim here on the side, so I'm going to white that as well. It's so nice when the butterflies visit. Okay, I need a little bit more water in my white. When my white refuses to come off my brush in nice little thin brush strokes, that means I need just a tiny bit more water in my paint. Yeah. Ron said last night that there would be future support. Well, good. Tall Scott, yes, I like the Raphael. I use the 8408s though. I use a much longer, thinner brush. The 8404s are a little broad for me, although I do have an 8404 somewhere around here hanging out. I don't know where I put it. But my go-to is either the Raphael 8408 or the Da Vinci. This is really my go-to though. The one I'm using right now, the Da Vinci Maestro Series 10, which is their standard round, size 1. It's thinner. It's a bit thinner than a usual standard round, but that's what I love about it. I do a lot of work with thinned paint and fine texture, and fine detail, and this sort of brush excels at that. I do have bigger brushes, fatter brushes. This is a number 2 Winsor & Newton Series 7 that I just picked up. I feel like here's a Raphael 0. But it's an 8408. Yeah, I like a thinner brush. So with the Raphaels, I go for the 08, which is the thinner. So the one on the top right is my my Da Vinci, and then the Raphael 8408 is the one right next to it on the left. But you can see I like that long, thin shape. I like the way it functions. I use very thin paint. So using a brush that's thinner with less body allows me to not have to unload it so much before I actually put paint on the model. So that's why I like that. Do I have an 8404? Somewhere I do, but most of my Raphaels are 8408s. Yeah, I've got a number 1 down here too that I haven't touched. But yeah, the Da Vinci Maestro Series 10, size 1, really is my go-to brush. Hi, Kiki. Do you want to say finally hi to the stream? Do you finally want to say hi to the stream, or you just want to sit here and lick me? Sorry, puppy incoming, everybody. Puppy incoming. You gonna come up? You gonna come up? You can come up if you wanna. You don't wanna? You just want pettins? Okay. Okay, just pettins then. Just pettins then. Okay, just pettins. Mwah! Good girl. Yeah, you're a good girl. We still have over half an hour though, Keeks. Yeah, I've had over half an hour of streaming, so you have to go and settle down, my dear girl. You do. You do. I allow you to come up and say hi to the stream, but if you're just going to stand here, I have to, pet you and tell you to go and settle. You also have gookies in your eyes. Yeah, you have gookies over there. Now it's gone. Good girl. Okay, work, work. Work, work, geek, geek. It's not necessary if you're thinning your paint as much as me, Tall Scott. So essentially, bigger, fatter brushes. I did a video on this for my YouTube. But thicker paint, thicker brush. Thinner paint, thinner brush. It's not going to dry out because I have so much water in this paint. I'm always painting. My base ratio is like two drops of paint to 1 drop of water. Most people would consider that way too thin. But I'm not worried about coverage after my first coat. So I like to work a lot thinner. I do a lot of layering. I do a lot of fine texture. I do a lot of glazing. So because I'm working with a paint that has a lot of water in it, it doesn't matter if I'm using a small or a very thin brush. It's not going to dry out because of the high water content. The other thing that you can do if you are working with thinner brushes is load it up with water. Just kind of squeeze it out like this. So there's still like a small amount of water. Like it's damp essentially. You can see the water glistening there in it, right? And then load up your brush. And essentially the water that's back here is going to help keep this paint from drying out. But you're not keeping a ton of water in the brush. You really are squeezing it out with your fingertips so that it's just damp. It's not wet. Otherwise, it will thin the paint that's on your brush. Yep, that's where I'm at. If you want, check out my YouTube. Quindy just linked it up in the chat a bit. I did a series, I'm still doing a series on the fundamentals of miniature painting. So I talk about every technique. I demo every basic technique from getting a smooth base coat to mixing your own washes to lining to layering, wet blending, glazing. It's all up right now. Now I'm going back and doing a couple things on prep work because I realized I forgot to do that. But yeah, fundamentals of mini painting. I have a playlist on my YouTube. You can just hit number 1 and just listen all the way through. And watch when it's... there are a couple of very talky videos when I'm talking about supplies like brushes, but in general, it's I'll demo a lot of techniques on there too. So then you can really see how I paint. But yeah. Yeah, if you don't squeeze enough water out of the brush. But that's like, yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's all free. I have a Patreon too, but the YouTube, I really just wanted to get a series of short videos out there that would just give people the foundation. Because I found that it was hard to find that sort of thing on the internet. Like, there's a lot of videos that they'll, like, paint a model, or they'll talk about one particular paint line, or they'll talk about a brush, they'll talk about one technique, but it's not, like, organized, you know? So, yeah. So, yeah, you can just, like, go from the front to the back and rock out. And I try to keep them fairly short, although my latest prep work video is 25 minutes. Some of them went longer just because I needed the time to demo all the things I wanted to demo. But I figured people would always, if it's useful information and not just blabber, I assume that people want the information. So sometimes some of them, YouTube would say my videos are too long because they're not like 7 minutes. But it's me. It's what I'm going with. I've decided not to care about what YouTube thinks of me, and just to give you guys a bunch of info. All right, that blorfed. So we're gonna take that right off with some water. It didn't feel like 25 minutes. Yeah, that's because I'm crammed a lot into it. That's what I figure, is that even though it's longer, if I'm always like showing you stuff and demoing, then it doesn't feel that long, right? I talked fast in that video. I knew because I was covering all the different model materials, it would be a while. I think it did come in under 25 minutes, but just barely. Yeah, exactly. It's just when you're starting on YouTube, YouTube is like, the ideal video length is, you know, like that. Oh no. Lots of blorfies all of a sudden. Tiny blorfs. TB, tiny blorf. That reminds me, I need to get to that Zazzle store now that I'm back from all my stupid traveling. I'll add it to my ever-expanding list of crap that I want to do this year. Or next year. I'm already assuming I'm in 2024 at this point. Like, I've just bundled the last part of this year into next year in my head. So I'm just working with 14-month 2024. That's where I'm at. There are just so many things that I want to do. Ah, okay. Sometimes you just barf, and it's just the way it is. Yeah, don't worry, Twisted Oma. I'm only apologizing to the people who actually go to YouTube expecting to only have like 5-minute or 7-minute videos. Sometimes I think that that whole like limited attention span myth we're fed, like that line that we're fed these days, is actually a myth. Like I feel like people may be impatient because everybody is so darn busy, but at the same time, people are fully capable of having an attention span when they're dealing with engaging content. And by engaging, I mean something they really want to learn. Oh, there's an angry squirrel outside, but thankfully I have my window mostly closed, so we're not having to listen to it. So that's a really, really thin edge. YouTube thinks the ideal length of a video, I think, is between 5 and 7 minutes, Pendrick. Yeah. And I can see the attraction. Like, the best TikTokers are really entertaining, and so you just want to just chain watch their stuff. But I don't do really social media anymore. So, not for myself. Oh, Papa, did you bring a bone in? Good girl. Good girl. She either brought me a bone or a ball. I can't tell from here. She's behind my screen. So we're just going to keep going and get all this. This is very persnickety edging on this figure. Very persnickety. Yep, Kiki's tail. Yeah, she's settled now with something to chew. Oh, dissatisfied with chewable item. Are you dissatisfied with your chewable item, Papa? She's like, this is not nearly as good as the chewable item you will give me after we take our WALK. So when does that happen? I had a really good CrossFit last night, although I was sad that there wasn't a strength component. We didn't do any weightlifting. It was all cardio. We're doing a lot of benchmarks lately, which is, so they're supposed to be tougher workouts that you usually do for time. And so you record how many reps or how much you can do or how you alter it. And you do every year or 6 months, you then can revisit that workout, do it again, and see how you've improved. It's kind of cool. I kind of want to see something like that. Would be kind of the equivalent in mini painting of painting a model and then painting the same model a year later and seeing how much you've improved. Which is totally valid way to judge that sort of thing. If you're interested in improving your painting. You could also just paint a very similar model. For example, if you had one of Christine Van Patten's box sets of like elves or humans or, you know, bartenders or whatever, you know, we have the elf pack that she did as a storybook set. If you did that, those models are usually similar enough that you could just paint a different one every year and then have them all lined up to see how you've improved. Oh, I'm out of camera. I need to go back so that I'm not out of camera. Yeah, probably Agent Marvel. Probably. They've upped it to 7 to 15 minutes. Yeah, well, that's why they're letting people monetize earlier. That's why I even have a chance at monetization if I work at it this year, because they need they need to show more ads. It's kind of sad, but it's true. So they made it easier as an incentive. They made it easier to get paid for what you do, which, I'm kind of like rolling my eyes, because really, Googs, only when your own bottom line is impacted did you actually make it easier for people to monetize their own content that they spend their own time doing. But at the same time, at least they did. It certainly is an incentive for me to put more on YouTube. So, and I do enjoy doing my YouTube, so that of course is another factor, because I like doing it. It's one of the social media I actually enjoy. All right, we've got white trim. You can see how fine those lines are, though, on that. It's definitely harder to do. And then we've got some stuff over here as well. Hey, Kiki. What's up? You bored? Oh, did you bring me a ball strap? Oh, do you want it? You gonna grab it? Yeah? Or you? We can play pull real quick if you're fast. Gotta be fast, though. Oh, this isn't the one with the strap that's easy for you to grab, is it? You need to chew this one a little more, Bubba. Yeah, you need to chew it a little bit more. Oh, good girl. Yeah, you should settle down and chew it. Oh, good girl. Oh, yeah, good girl. Good girl. Yeah. I know. You need to chew that more. You need to chew it. Hold on, let me toss it for her and get her out of the way. Yeah, you need to chew that one. Go get it. She's got a ball strap that she's chewed the strap of, so she can actually hold on to it better. Hi, baby girl. Yeah, do you want to come up now? Do you want to come up now and say hi? No? Okay. It's good. You got to go settle, though. We have another half an hour because Mama started late. But yeah, I do like my YouTube. I'm looking forward to having this like comprehensive library of crap you can watch that'll help you if you're a new person. And then keeping my upper levels of my Patreon more for like advanced stuff, or just a little bit more in-depth stuff on the Patreon. I do like using the $2 tier to produce companion PDFs for it. I think that'll be nice for people to have. All right, I'm just kind of looking at this. Got a little bit of a swirl down here. I also want my stuff out there on the YouTube because I paint. I'm starting to increasingly realize that I paint differently from a lot of other painters right now. Like a very different methodology. Every time I watch Lucas stream or Wapple stream or Gibbon, James is not like by any gesture of the imagination normal, but like there's a lot of people working up from black primer. There's a lot of people who do more of a blocking in with thick paint of a bunch of stuff, like David does. Hey, that's a leaf. I didn't even realize she had a little leaf on the back of her hand. Well, awesome. Leaf design, anyway. Yeah, painting big, 2 words. And technically you can get to it right now, youtube.com/the @ and then just painting big, all one word. They gave me my own channel link finally, because I got big enough. All right, so we've got our nice little leaf there. Just have a little bit more trim up here. Yeah, I'm excited to do some 3D printing this weekend. I'll see what we can fit in. I finished my my book that was distracting me so much yesterday. The Lit RPG series. I decided I cannot read when I'm writing. So I finished the book I was on, and I'm not buying any of the other books until I am like free again. Maybe I'll let myself read the next one over Christmas or something. All right, so we've got kind of a seashell thingy up here almost. It's got a lot of little lines. So that's also going to be gold. It's a decorative flourish on her shoulder pad. It's different things. You need a certain number of subscribers, and you need a certain number of minutes watched per year, I believe, Agent Marvel. Like, or a certain number watched per month. I'd have to look it up. I think I pretty much have the subscribers I need. Like, the only thing I need is essentially more minutes to watch. I just haven't, since I only did one video a month last year, I actually get a fair amount of watch hours on YouTube, but nowhere near what I need to get. However, when I saw my latest summary from YouTube, I realized that with a push, I could get there in like a year and a half, if I pushed. So it's totally doable. It just takes work. I mean, this is where, you know, people are like, oh, this YouTuber makes so much money. It's like, yeah, but it took that YouTuber like 5 or 6 years of consistent work to get there. So it just takes a lot of effort, a lot of shooting video that people want to watch. So yeah, I think I have everything else. One second. They just changed. Yeah, they expanded the partner program. Yeah, 500. Yeah, essentially you need to do one video a month. You need to have at least 500 subscribers. And you need 3,000 public watch hours on long-form videos in the last 365 days. And I don't do shorts, so that's not necessary. And your channel has to be like, you need to be at least 18. You have to accept their commerce product thing. Channel is not set as a made-for-kids channel, not a music channel, and they've got some other stuff, but... And then you can do stuff off of that, like creating your own shopping channel off of that, stuff like that. Yeah, you need... I've got the 500 subscribers, well over it, but I don't have... it's the watch hours. And if you only upload one video a month, their minimum, it's going to take you years to get to that many watch hours. So the key is to figure out time in the month that you can do more videos. So if I look at the amount of videos I have now, when I take the fundamentals videos as my basic block of video, and then I look at how many watch hours I have per year so far, and then I multiply that, it gives me a general number of videos I would need to have, hypothetically, to hit that. Yeah, if you do one a week, you can hit it probably faster, as long as, you know, you're building your audience. And basic monetization doesn't give you very much money at all. It gives you ad share and stuff. The easiest one to make a small amount of money off faster is Twitch, honestly. But YouTube expects you to be there for the long haul. You have to commit to YouTube to get to that level. as well as just putting out quality content that people want to see. All right, I'm actually going to undercoat the rim around here as well. And it's not an auto get into their partner program. They always have the caveat of, you just because you qualify, it doesn't mean you necessarily get to, but I think that's more to keep out people who are trying to game the system. But yeah, the 3,000 watch hours is a significant cut down from where it used to be. So I think it used to be like 10,000 or something. Really, really hard to hit unless you're on a very popular genre. Yeah, I would like to have the time to do one a week. If I did one a week, I would definitely get there in a year, I feel like. But that would be a very high commitment for something that I'm not making cash at. So it's got to come after everything else I'm doing if I'm going to do that. And as I work with my new way I'm doing things, I'll get a better feel for being able to do that, like how many I'll be able to do. So there's little dots in this that if we want those to show up better, one thing we can do is fill those little dots first with a blob of walnut and then hit them each again with a blob of white. And then when we paint our gold over the top, we're going to be able to see the difference. It's going to already show up a little bit more. So let me touch up this and do a line around it because I haven't lined it at all. Alright, so I identify each of these little dots that I want to fill in, and then I'm going to put a little blob of walnut inside each. But yeah, the nice thing with YouTube is that if you do push to that level and you do get that number of watch hours, then you can take your foot off the gas a little bit after that. Probably just go down to like a video every 2 weeks and still grow your audience and stay in the partner program. So the fact that the minimum is only one a month is nice because, if things come up, gives you kind of a buffer if 1 month is really just atrocious and you can't do it. Right now I feel like I need to make a total list of overall executables for this coming year. Like, I need to make sure the Zazzle store is on there so you can all get your Blorf mugs. Alright, so lined around it. We already got lining on the inside of it. So now we can put our gold over that. Right, yeah, I'm very much focusing on it being a specific painting lesson, but that's my strength, right? That's what I do. And breaking it down for new people is like kind of my joy. It's my greatest joy as far as the hobby goes. Actually seeing somebody go, this makes sense to me, thank you. That's what I want to, that's my favorite. That's my happy place. And not everybody is going to understand my methodology, even with all of the work that I do to try to make it very simple, but enough people like the way I teach that I feel like I can get there. So I'm just putting a little dot of white inside of each of those little dots of brown. It's just a smaller dot, so it makes it look like polka dots. Yes, we need a Blorf mug. Oh, you have the new Blorf with the colors, Quindy. Before it was just like dark, but now it's got pretty colors. But yeah, so there's a lot of things I want to get done. This coming year is really ambitious for me. The most challenging thing will be to make sure that my writing is taken care of at the same time as I'm focusing energy on all these other new things. David started getting up a little bit earlier after daylight savings time, and I kind of am encouraging him to keep doing that because it gives me more time in the morning, to the point where maybe I could get some writing done before the stream, which would be awesome. All right, so I feel like we've got the basic edges and lining done on these. Maybe I want these little buckle things. Oh, I missed a part. But yeah, I'll do a Blorf mug. I'll do a painting big t-shirt with my logo. The dragon. Yeah, that was very Blorfy, but I can take my walnut in and correct it. So tomorrow we'll be working on my stream on twitch.tv/paintingbig. We will be working on Owlbear, and I'll be working on getting his fur, his golden part of his fur, highlighted, and also I'll be trying to put in some darker coloration down his back. I think I'm gonna see what I can do. The bot's like, no, I've spammed enough on that. There we go. The bot's like, you have been telling people where to find Anne too much this stream. To heck with you. But yeah, Twitch stream will go tomorrow around 3:30 USA, 3:30 p.m. USA Central Standard Time. So I minimized those lines and made them pretty dark. They are in shadow, like that whole leg is, so I'm okay with that. I think that's about right. Yeah, all right. I'm gonna thin my gold just a little bit, my rich leather. More spam. Yep, it's Albert. But yeah, I feel like with the painting book and the Zazzle at least is a fire and forget, where I set it up and just leave it to go. That's nice. So I did the same thing here where I left a bit of a dark line on the interior, and you can see where I'm just painting this over the top, and I'm keeping that dark line. Now I did thin my my rich leather for this purpose, so I thinned it just a little bit more so that I knew it would be a little more transparent. That way I could absolutely keep these darker details, but I can put another layer over the top once I see how much they're going to be obfuscated. And when I go to do these really fine lines, I'm going to thicken up my rich leather again, because I need it to, I don't want to have to be painting over those fine, super fine lines again and again. More spam. You sound like Hawaii. Man, when we were in Hawaii, we went to the grocery store to pick up food for the week, and the people ahead of us were like Hawaiian as hell. Like cans of spam, actually buying. Who buys spam around here, guys? Nobody buys spam, I think, ever in the grocery store I have been in Texas and in here in California. I had never, and I mean never, ever seen anybody buying spam. But these people had pineapples and spam and a bunch of other food. I did not. I did write. Yes, actually, I don't write on the plane Airwiz because I'm uncomfortable doing it because there's people right next to you that can just read over your shoulder, which just makes me uncomfortable. But I did write a lot in the airport while I was waiting for my flight. I wrote on North of the Wind. I know that I'd rather be working on the first book of Queenmaker, but I need to have North of the Wind ready by February or close thereafter. So that means I need to get it done now so I have time for editing. Yeah, I mean Hawaii. It is kind of the thing where Hawaiians love their spam, right? It's always just kind of like it makes me shake my head. I get it, but I don't get it. Obviously, I am not Hawaiian. It was just funny. It's only in Hawaii. You see, the pineapples, the pack of ground beef, random stuff, rice, and then 3 cans of spam. All right, so we still can see those details. Those little dots. They have man, I'm not a spam person. Man, you guys, you can have your spam. More for you. More for you. All right, so now I'm going to thicken up my rich leather just a little bit. War Shadow. I need pretty specific sculpts for some of that. If my books get big, I'll pay somebody to do some sculpts and get like at least a few miniatures done probably, but that'll be a while. The books need to get more popular first. That's just a whole distraction. But yeah, there's one, I've said before that there is one image that I absolutely would like to be a miniature someday from my books. So, and it's from West of the Moon. But I'd like a picture of Sadis riding Rasker with the spear. Those who have read my books know who those characters are. The cover art is pretty close to, like, as far as, like, the way the characters, like, look in my head. Like, we can't do everything. Like, I would do a little bit more elaborate costuming sometimes, but, like, Sadis on the cover of East of the Sun definitely looks like Sadis in my head. Hi. I give my cover artist is actually really good. Like, when I tell her, this one should look a little, this face needs to be not ultra feminine. This face needs to have a jawline and be more, be more like that, and versus this character is, supposed to be more elegant. This character is supposed to be, look for the more tortured poet kind of character. Tortured young poet. That's what I asked for Tor. She's really good at, and then she gives me a selection of models to look at that she's basing the art off of. And I choose which model looks more like the character in my head. So I might be able to pay my cover artist to do some concept art based on that. Or maybe find somebody else, like an actual illustrator. I'll tell you though, actual illustrators usually cost a lot more. But I would probably need to get an actual illustrator. Because most of my covers aren't showing the full figure, for one thing. So unless I did a bust or something. And a lot of like the characters, yeah, they just don't get a full figure look at them in any of the art I've got. So that's where if the books get popular, it'll be cool, because then there'll probably be some fan art out there, and I can contact those people if I like it and ask, hey, will you do a piece for me to be used as, you know, the concept art for a figure? But that's a long time away. At least another couple books away. When you win the lottery list. Thanks, Twistoma. Yeah, I love my cover artist a lot. And her art, honestly, is a good, like, jumping off point for any artist that wants to do more art of the characters. I hear clicky paws, but she's being good. But yeah, I'd like to have a few white bears sculpted. It would be nice to have a Valaman and a Will. But you know, this is way off. Who knows? Maybe the book range. I mean, I think the book range will get moderately popular just because I think it's already, I'm seeing more success than anticipated, but it won't really get popular to that level, I think, until I have a lot more books out. The more books you have, the more invested people get in your world and your characters. And that's when you start getting the level of fandom where people do things like concept art. Richard. Let's not put the cart before the horse. I have so many. Did I not just say that I have so many, you know, like a very ambitious schedule for the coming year? And that's without putting any of that in there. Let's just get the next 2 books written, hey? Let's just get the next 2 books written and out there. Then I'm going to take a breather, assess how things are, and figure out what my next book is. Technically, I'm skipping a little bit of timeline here with North of the Wind, because it's been 7 years since the end of West of the Moon, because I needed Tor to be older to tell his story. But stuff has definitely gone on in the meantime, specifically with Sola and Ren, because, you know, those favors they promised to somebody. So there will be a book at some point called 3 Favors, and that will cover the foxes. You'll learn a lot more about the foxes, and it's also going to be kind of a filler for those 7 years. It'll have happened somewhere in the middle of those. It's essentially about Sola learning what it means to be a fox now, because she's not a person anymore, not a human anymore, so the foxes have their own secrets and their own ways of doing things. And Sola has to figure out, like, who she is in that world and what she's about. And they have to, like, of course, do those little tasks. So that will be... There probably is going to be a 2-book series on the foxes, and one of those books takes place before North of the Wind, and the other one takes place after. And that's why I didn't just write them in order. Because they're very fox-centric, so those 2 books. Although the second of those likely includes a return to the Underkingdoms. All right. Always Slayer covering your ears. I didn't really spoiler anything. Oh, except for that. Yeah, I did spoiler that. Cover your ears. Sorry, I totally forgot that. There has to be a point where the book has been out long enough where I just have to say, I have to warn people. Yeah. I'm sorry, I was looking more into doing audiobooks last night. But I think it's still at least 2 books out. At the very minimum, if I narrated them myself to save the cash, I would need to get some software and hire an audio editor afterwards. And that's only if I'm going to do them myself. Then there's even more money on the line if I don't do them myself. So essentially, if I want the audiobooks out earlier, guys, it would mean me doing the narration myself. Because I'm not going to have the thousands of dollars otherwise that it would take to have somebody else do it and pay them fairly. And I think I would like a female narrator since 2 of my mains are female. So... it's totally spoilers. One of those was definitely a spoiler, Richard. So apologies for spoilers. You should read it, though. You should read it, folks. There's still more stuff there that you don't know. Besides, by the time you get down to reading it, you'll have forgotten this discussion. Life will take over. But if you really want to know what we're talking about, you have to go and finish the books. And then you have to leave a review. Well, no, you don't have to. But I would love it if you did. Shameless plug. Hashtag shameless plug. Halfway through book 2. Yay! Good. It's alright, I'm not spoiling anything that's coming. Although I really need to get, I need to get past this intro crap. All right, there we go. We've blocked in all of our gold. Whew, that took a while because there were so many tiny details. And now it is time to end the stream. Yeah. I am going to get these little buckles. Yeah, they're just only slightly differing, though. That's what happens when you give me good feedback and I have to, like, add an entire new scene to the chapter. Almost. Or at least a new... There. So doing buckles is the same as doing those polka dots. Is... blocking it in white, then putting a dot in the middle for the leather. And then painting it over it with the gold base. There we go. Cool, Sir Gambit, sure. That'd be great. Tiny buckles. Down to boots. Yeah, you don't see them until you rig it down or they paint them. And depending on the version you have, this is the Bones USA version, so those details are clear. If you have a Bones version, then they might not be. The other buckles on the other side are really lost in shadow, so I'm okay leaving those. I might hit them a little bit, but not as much as that. So if I do, I'll just hit a little bit of the area that's kind of facing forward. Hey, the longer you wait, Sir Gambit, the more books will be out, so... That said, I will try not to talk about the books again in as far as explicit plot stuff for a while. That way I won't spoiler any of you guys. I always just, like, my brain is like, everybody's read it, but you haven't, so... Apologies. Yeah. So if I get just a little bit of those buckles right there at the front. Oh, and look, there's a gap. I totally missed that shadow. See that gray back there? I'm going to hit that with my walnut. That's why I'm keeping my walnut. Yeah, I know. It takes time to get around to reading books. I understand. When you do start, if you do start, you will get a resounding thank you from me. And I hope you will enjoy it. Although I should tell you, if you're reading the books on Kindle Unlimited, the first one is no longer on Kindle Unlimited because I don't want to have to mess around with piracy crap and getting my account banned because somebody pirates my book and I don't spot it in time. And West of the Moon is in KU right now, but it will be dropping out of KU on the 17th. So I think the 16th is the last day. So if you have been reading my books on Kindle Unlimited, you're going to want to grab West of the Moon if you want to read it in KU. It'll save you money. So I'm telling you, my stream friends, now is the time. Now is the time to download to KU, to Kindle Unlimited West of the Moon. I've decided kind of, because Kindle Unlimited hasn't done really well for me. I gave it over 6 months at this point. I decided my books weren't a good fit for KU. And again, there's the piracy thing. So that is why I'm going to just let it drop out of that. That also lets me put it on Wider. It lets me put it on iBooks. It lets me put it on Kobo, other platforms. So Barnes & Noble, it'll actually let me put my ebook on Barnes & Noble. Stuff like that. So cool. Yeah, so just that said, just so you guys know, if you want to save money and get it on KU, if that's the way you're reading my books, you want to do that with West of the Moon sooner rather than later. I will not be in KU after the 17th. Or after the 16th. I think it drops out on the 17th. So yeah. Alrighty, look at what we did. Yay! We covered up all the gray. Yay! And now we'll bring up that all those gold colors. You can see all those gold colors around the model. And that should go well with everything, actually. Yeah, it'll be pretty. I may, because you can see the corners of the cape, the inner corners of the cape on the back, I may actually do a little leaf emblem back there in freehand. I'm kind of leaning toward it. I decided not to do like a lot of the leaves on the inside of the cloak because I felt like it would be too much. But I think doing a simple little gold freehand design on the corners of the cape would actually add a bit to the back that I feel like I'm lacking. So I think that's where we are. But yeah, she looks so much better just with those areas filled in, doesn't she? So that's great. She's a somewhat dark figure. Notice the skin tones are really the lightest thing on the figure, and we don't have any true lights. We don't have any true light colors until we get to the back. Then we have some light down there. But otherwise, it's the skin tone that really draws the eye. So this is an exception to like some of my normal rules where I say use lights and mids and darks on a model. Here I've gone more with warm and cool, or just like changing the colors, using neutrals and vibrant colors instead that are all in the same range of tonality, or not tonality, of contrast. So you can do this, it works. But then it's even more important that you draw attention to the face when you've got a model that's very kind of very uniform as far as light and dark across the entirety. So yeah. And of course, once I bring these gold up, there will be touches of highlights that go up to pure white. So that will make things look a little less monochrome as far as, or mono shade. Mono shade. So that will help. But yeah, so there we go, guys. We actually did do a lot. It feels like we didn't, but this was actually, it took a while, right? It takes a while to do, especially with all those little filigree edges that are on models like this. So. Okie dokie, on Monday, we will be back to Quindy's favorite, Angry Link. Angry Link also needs us to finish some gold on his stuff. We did get more colors on his shield. That's looking really good. I've got some straps here to worry about. I've got highlights and shadows on the cape to worry about. But yeah, so we were working on the white last time and we got that pretty settled. We actually haven't highlighted his boots at all. He's got a lot of stuff that we can work on, for sure. So, yep. And I just chose, there's a couple models that are not in rotation right now, and they will just be going back into rotation as I finish models like Angry Link. So, because we are pretty close on these two. We're pretty close to done. So once these two drop out, then Karindra and Jolie will come back. But I wanted to work on Karindra more in the winter because she's going to have a winter snow base. So, yeah, I mean, this was actually my color scheme for when I was painting my Wood Elf Army, Richard. This was for my spring units, so I did seasonal units. And for the springtime units, this was the color scheme. But yeah, it's a good color scheme if you've got Wood Elves. Or just elfy, woodsy elves. But that is what we are going to do. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Sorry again for starting so late. At least we made up the time. The Kiki has been patient for now, but she's giving me the eye from out in the hallway. Remember, I will be on tomorrow on Twitch on my own channel on twitch.tv/paintingbig at 3:30 p.m. USA Central Time. And we usually do an hour and a half, 2 hours. So I will be there. And otherwise, I will see you all on Monday after this lovely weekend. All right? Have a great one, everybody. And I will talk to you then.